Hello, welcome to a Trainz route building livestream. Hello, Kango Fango, and everybody else who's watching live or archived. So, if you look at the map of the route, you can see that there's a lot more done than there previously was. So I was thinking about just doing a little flyover to show you the stuff, but actually I think it would be more fun to have a little test drive along that bit and then along that bit down to here, just to give you a real idea of what the route is like currently. And so I've already placed our little test train here at Duckley. So let's get into that. And by that, I mean this. First on-stream Sharadice test drive in TRS-22. No, we already did a test drive when I laid the tracks at Hadley Head. Yeah. So the signal's already set correctly. Should I do from the inside or from the outside? I think from the outside you might see a little bit more. Yeah, these are. I've not touched the train since, well, since quite a while, because I've been building the route mainly. So this is Duckley as we're departing. I haven't put any super elevation on this bit yet, but that will come. Ah, thanks, Kango. Right, so here the speed limit increases to 60 miles per hour. And you can see the next stop is Pennycampton. And yes, the lights do not turn on in here because this is not a real tunnel as far as the game's concerned, but it is as far as we are concerned. Reminds you of Plymouth's Pennycumquick. Oh, Pennycampton. Suppose it does sound a bit similar. Right, and so so this bit is the first bit of the route that I made, as I said in the first live stream. So some of this scenery, mainly as we're coming into Pennycampton and beyond that, will be reworked. Also, I'm not going to be stopping here because that just saves a bit of time. Yeah, so this scenery over here, this bit still looks quite empty at the moment, so I'll probably add some, like a field boundary to cut across there and some stuff like that. Also, somewhere along here I might add a junction with a track turning off to the right, because looking at the map view, it feels a little odd that so Hadley Head is the peninsula. Well, Hadley Head is on the peninsula, and that's where the railway goes to. But the actual main coastline continues on past that. We don't have tracks going that way. So it might be good to add a junction here to have tracks going westward from this point. The implication being that that's the main line that continues further west. I mean, since we don't know how the landscape looks that way, how the coastline looks, it could be that there's just the coastline that curves northward there, and that's that. But that's probably not the case, considering that the big city is supposed to be analogous with London. So yeah. Also, don't mind this signal here having the feather. That was me just testing around. Again, there's the first baseboard I made in this route. Don't worry about it. Right. The service approaching on platform 1 is a 2-car southeastern service to Hadley Head. Hadley Head has 2 H's, I think. The train will not be stopping at this station. Oh, like Junction by Newton Abbot? Should it, London or Exeter? More London, because Exeter doesn't have really a network of commuter trains. Like it's got 3 stations in it, which is more than a lot of towns, yes, but it's still a bit too small. Oh yes, we'll be getting to that bridge, but that'll be on the second trip. So this bit here is what I've been working on today, as we're coming into and through the tunnel. Now ideally, I would like to have... Okay, so in regards to a line potentially extending further westward, or at least going off the map in a westwardly direction, ideally that would be... Well, actually I suppose we do have a Y. Yeah, I was thinking that bridge over there on the estuary, that makes the coastline possible. I can justify... I can sort of justify the railway building that for just Oscombe and Hadley Head, especially when you consider that at least Hadley Head has the port, which probably in the past and maybe still today, who knows, has seen probably a lot of fishing, if this is realistic. And so, as of course a great tourist destination, all of that sort of stuff. So then building that bridge to allow trains to go along the coastline without having to go north and then cut across and all that sort of stuff is probably a worthwhile investment, but it's just on the border of it. Yeah, so there's the work in progress area from today. It's just on the border of it. And so if we could have an extension westward that is accessible via the coastal line, then that would just add more value to that bridge and make it more justifiable and through that more realistic. So yeah, because we do have this Y here, which allows northward access of this line from the coastal line coming from the east via the bridge. But if we have the junction up there where I mentioned it, turning westward, then that would only be accessible from the north, not from the south. And north would be the more important direction, because north is the direction that the big city with the terminuses is in. So if I do want to bother with that junction heading westward, either I would need to put in another Y, which wouldn't really fit that well, I don't think. Or I'd need to find a place somewhere along this line before Hadley Head to turn off. But the thing is, I really like how the scenery looks on this line. I'm really happy with it, and I don't really want to change it. We'll see. We'll see. It's something I've been thinking about. Yeah, I really like how this has turned out. Right. Thames estuary or X estuary? More like X estuary. AGS dig hole, where art thou? Not on that bit. On the tunnel. It is on the northern portal. Actually, no, it's on the southern portal, not on the northern portal, because I've not done the scenery of the northern portal yet. Having a junction heading westward on this line would also be good if it were kind of near the end of this line, probably because just before the turn towards Hadley Head onto the peninsula. Then if that did function as a little extension, maybe to one station or something like that, before the line heads off the map, then that would also increase the effective length of this line a bit, which is good for sessions, because with the high speed limits and the non-linear nature of the route, namely it being a network, even though it has substantial track length, the actual lines, and through that the sessions that you'll be playing, are gonna be relatively short. Because, well, you can't really drive the whole network in a line in a session, unless it's some special tour or something. But that adds more variety as well, which is great. But yeah, so there are pros and cons to all these different things. Yeah, I really love how this has turned out. Little Marefell village, or Marefell Castle village, whatever I called it. And there are loads of little details as well down here and stuff like that. Yeah, so if I did have a junction, the other possible place is over here, so that there'd be a junction coming off to the right here, and then cutting across this field, and then coming over there or something like that. But that would mess with the aesthetics of having this causeway, or this built-up embankment with a road going across it, and this feeling a little, well, quite a bit more rural. It would kind of mess with that, and I don't really like the idea of that. Oh well, we'll see. Oh no, Slovak Eagle, you have surprised me! Hello. You have arrived. Yeah, just talking about potentials for having a junction that serves as a westward extension / exit point of the route. Like a main line that goes off the map towards the west, that's accessible from this line. Will it be busy today? I wasn't planning on it, but I wouldn't have anything against it. Those are some very brown cliffs. They are reddish-orange. Inspired by the cliffs of Devon, of course. Right, so we're about at Hadley Head, and then I'll quickly exit out and go back in, so then we can go along the other line from Duckley, the one that goes southeast. Yeah, I'll need to put some sort of greenery there to kind of increase the contrast between the cliffs in the front and the cliffs on the other side of the bay. So when will you add super elevation? Some bits already have super elevation, others have not. I'll add it when I get to it. Right, so here we go. Arriving at Hadley Head. Fair enough. I sure hope it is. And look, I've got a little funicular that was once upon a time used to get goods up and down from the harbour to the station. Not sure if I've showed this bit on the stream yet. Yeah, and there's the litter bin nest that I made and stuff. I think, yeah, I already showed that bit. Right, so, yeah, this is Hadley Head. That was the one branch. That was from, well, the one line. That was from Duckley up here, via Pennycampton, Oscombe, and then down to Hadley Head. So, I'm going to reset, and then we're going to go down the other line. It's not as long yet as the one we just went down, but I'm making progress on it. I was wondering slightly what that was on one of the pics you shared. But it's great show again. It's great to show again. Eagle wasn't here last time. Oh, right. That is a really cool idea. You have quite a lot finished now. Well, I have a substantial amount finished, yes, but there's still a lot to go. Like, on the kind of the southern part of it, I've still got to do this bit, and then the whole line going along down here, a little line going up there, and then probably extend it like this as well, or something like that, and then got to do this bit, and all of this up here will be inside the city. So yeah, a lot of work still, but I am making good progress. So now we're going to go left instead of right. It's kind of a bit of a Groundhog Days-esque, Groundhog Day-esque situation. There we go. Right, so that's the way we just went around the curve there. Now we're just going to go along this bit, and this is the fast main line. This is the main line that has 80 miles per hour speed limit as the kind of default speed for it, as opposed to the 60 that the other line had. Why is it Groundhog Day if not Otter Day? Who knows? Well, because otters don't hibernate, as far as I know. Yeah, and look down up, you can see the station building, what we worked on the last stream back there. I haven't touched that bit yet. I've been mainly working on countryside scenery. Yeah, there's a huge red pushpin there. Oh, that's going a bit too fast. Luckily we don't have the flux capacitor active. I like your creativity. Can I borrow some? If you promise to give it back, yes. Right, so this is where the kind of big hill starts. You can see there's an old defunct signal box there. Right, so this then kind of climbs up the side of the hill. If you zoom out, you can see like that. And I might decrease the forest density on the main bits of the hill, we'll see. Yeah, so this goes up to what I've for the moment called Y-junction, which is where the other line crosses over the top. And I've been thinking about it, and while I am probably going to have the whole thing electrified, it's probably mainly going to be trains to this junction station from the left main line that are then going to reverse direction and go back, so that you can change onto this line from there. Occasionally trains will continue through onto Oscombe and Hadley Head along the single track line, but that's not going to be the main case, because I do like the idea of keeping that single track. And well, if all of the trains would have gone through here, then it wouldn't make sense to have that bit double and that bit single. Right, so we're here again, with what I'm currently calling Y-junction, and I'm quickly going to pause here, just to give you another nice little view of the area, of what it looks like now. This took quite a while to do, and of course that bit's not finished yet, because that scenery is mostly going to be accessible from the line that goes off to the right there, and from the line down by the water, which is the little branch up the estuary. So that's why I haven't done this scenery yet. But with a long render distance, you can see all the way over to the hills by Oscombe and beyond, and that's really nice. So yeah, I haven't really done any scenery back here yet either, because that's where this line's going to go, and yeah. So yeah, that's kind of up to the high point. So now it continues on, and this is where we're going to start going downhill again. And while I do love going quick, like 80 miles an hour on these routes is a lot of fun to drive, it does mean you get to where you're going very fast. Which sounds like a good thing, but only if you think about it in a certain way. Right, so then we're getting into a bit of managed forest, like an area where the trees are farmed, basically. There was a little crossing there. Comes out, goes a little bit alongside the woods for a little bit of a change of scenery, and then over on the right, the ocean is revealed. You can see the ocean right there. Little wooded valley with a river running through it, and there's a little disused quarry on the hillside there, because it looked a little empty, and so I decided to put that there. It's basically just carved in and painted with rocks, and a few rocks placed there as well. Right, so then we get over here, little siding that was once used for bankers to help freight trains up the hill, and this is where it splits. On the left here, this is the main line. I'm going to slow down here because I do actually want to reverse the train for the other little bit. This goes towards the big port town that will be built at some point down there, where a lot of freight has come from and is coming from, which is why you've got this big mainline running this way and the other one the other way. Yeah, there we go. Right, and this is the coastal line that comes from Hadley Head, originally goes via Oscombe, via another town right there, and then curves around, comes into here. And this, what we're at here currently, is actually a Y. So I'm going to go drive back, and then I'm going to drive the other little bit of the Y, because the other bit of the Y is quite nice as well, scenery-wise. Really happy with how that turned out. Right, so I can give it back if I'm gonna... I can't give it back if I'm gonna drain it. Well, you just need to find the well of creativity within yourself. And if you handle it well, and if you don't burn it down, then, well, it's going to replenish itself forever. Ish. Right, you can drain it all you want, but you gotta refill it before you give it back, just like if you were borrowing a vehicle. XD. I want to borrow some creativity because I'm working on Austria. A massive lack of assets is keeping me back. Austria? As in... on what route? Is it a new route? Is it a... What sort of route is this that you're working on? Maybe use the medieval assets you used on Grundorf, Raban? I need to make 2 cities, 1 town, few villages, and a lot of Alps? And yeah, a lot of Alps. On a 15 by 10 baseboards. Oh, are you... You know, this does sound like a new map, or is it an extension of Central Europe Mini? Ooh. Right, so... Also, look, I've got this little overgrown dirt track here that they used to use to access the siding for the bankers, which, of course, nowadays isn't really used anymore, but expanding Steam Mini... Ooh! That sounds really interesting. Hans Brandt, Sweder, and Shadow Rock are on Team Germany. Ooh, that sounds very interesting. Right, so if we instead turn off here, speed limit goes down to 25 because, well, for obvious reasons. It stays at 25 for the Y. Yeah, you can see little puppies that I placed down there. It just kind of gently curves along here, which this was a bit annoying to put the 3rd rail down on this bit because, well, it's on a big curve and that doesn't work well. Right, so this comes along here. And actually I'm going to stay on the right-hand side track for now because I don't know if I don't think I extended the other one at all. Right, so you come across here. And this is where the other side of the Y connects up to. Which, by the way... Actually, 1 second. Oh, that's fine. By the way, here, this is where the little road crosses over these 2 tracks as well. And this is now the coastal line again, which I think, yeah, 60 miles per hour is probably what I'm going to have here. And I'm just going to speed through this until we get to the end, which is at the end of the bridge. So that's where the other little road comes in that was going through the valley. And there's going to be a town here where the red pin mark is. A little town with a station where a tiny little branch goes off to the right to a little village at the end of the estuary. Which, by the way, the river that feeds the estuary is the one that we crossed before on the first little drive back there. Right, so this is where the station will go, then that's where the estuary branch goes back there. And, yeah. Coming up here, yeah, that's where the little village will be back there. Yeah, coming up here onto this lovely bridge. And then I haven't actually built the rails on this bit yet. So I'm just going to pause it here. But this will continue along this way. And for most of it, probably up until sort of maybe here-ish, it'll be running along the coastline, but then the coastline's going to go off to the left, and it's going to run inland slightly. And here is where the town of Ostrcombe is going to kind of join on the left. And then on the right as well a bit, this is where the Y is that leads up to the first branch that goes via Pennycampton. And then this joins up here, basically. So yeah, that's what I've been building. Now the 2 locations that I said for a potential junction westwards, one of them's here. So we could potentially have a junction goes off there and then goes westwards like that, which of course isn't ideal if you want to have more use for the bridge, because, well, then you'd have to go this way, go up here, and you couldn't even turn around there. Actually, yeah, well, technically you could turn around here on this junction, get onto this single track line, but then you'd already be past the junction, so then you'd just be going down towards Hadley Head again. But that wouldn't really work well. The other way was to maybe have one here, but again, not really ideal. I'll have a look afterwards. So yeah, that's that. Now let's get to some building. Although first I'll read chat. Oh, wow, Yanni, TB and Levi are on Team Hungary. Ah, Ciut is reworking Poland and adding Baltic Sea. Nice. Shadows, will this route feature Doctor Who Easter eggs? Maybe. Wow. Oh, this looks wonderful. And that isn't even Turf FX. Yes, it's splines. The grass, not the person. By the way, yeah. So, let's actually get to some building. There should be a TARDIS as for Trainz with open doors and it black inside. Well, I mean, you can make that. So, the question is, where should we build? Could continue building scenery here, which is what I was working on before the stream. But I think that might get a little bit boring. Or we could continue working on the layout of the tracks by this terminus, which I think is the better option, because that way I'll make a little bit of progress here and I can switch to building some urban scenes if I want to. So let's do this. Now, I remember from last stream when Code Monkey was here having a look at the different the Glasgow Central, I believe it was, where basically you already had some switchovers really quite far back, allowing trains to sort onto tracks that they would want to go on. And then you had basically one track that led over to the other side, so you could technically reach it from here, but most of the tracks were kind of going back and forth on the side that they were already on. So that's kind of what I took away from that. 1 second, it's getting a bit warm. There we go. So let's build it like that. I also haven't thought about a lot of the scenery here yet, although I would like to have sort of a little bit of a hill kind of around here or something like that. I think that would look nice. So, track, yes, good. So far, we've basically got a how do I think about this best? Because I was thinking about steps, like going over how many steps over you can go. So technically we've got a 3-step over, because if you want to come out from the station from here, can go 2 steps. So this would be 1, 2, 3. From here it's 1, 2. Okay. So all of those 4 tracks there are actually, all of these 5 tracks are accessible from this line. Well, it will be one. I know I'm confusing you. That's because I'm figuring it out as I'm saying it. Let's just extend the lines a bit, and for that, I'll actually use the Server 2.0 gizmo, because that ensures that I'm dragging this along in a straight line, which is important Also, this doesn't quite appear to be exactly parallel, which is interesting. I guess I should probably use a ruler to make sure this is actually 6 foot apart, because that's a bit too wide. Yeah, so it should be around there. In which case, I might as well just grab them and move them back manually. Ooh, what happened there? Whoop, no, everything's fine. Okay, so if I just move this over, around there, seems fine. Right. And I like these new rulers because they do, they have these very distinct edges to them, so you can precisely see. With the old rulers, it was kind of floaty and blurry and above the ground, so it was a little vague as to where the actual measurement was being taken. But with these ones, you can see that. And also, they are actually true splines, so you can have them go around curves, which I haven't used yet, but that seems to be quite important. Although, actually saying that, hold on, if I do that, but 130 feet, then if I okay, so you can connect them to each other, which means that you can count up the different lengths, but it doesn't actually measure the distance along the curve. It still measures from that point to that point. Because otherwise, if I do this, that line should be longer than this line, but it isn't. So it does make it a bit easier, but not as easy as it could be if it measured around the curve itself. Right. I find it funny that I have Tiers 22 and Trainz Plus, yet still have old rulers and junction icons. Old junction icons? What do you mean? And yes, I do sometimes use the new rulers as well, if it's just because it's a slightly more a bigger hassle if I have to go over here, go to splines, type in ruler, and then anyway. New junction icons have empty arrows. Do they? Oh. How does one even obtain those? Also, I think it was like 170 feet for the crossover that I measured on Google Maps before. Oh, wait, no, sorry. That is Swadar's modification. Oh. Yeah, that point when you forget that a feature is added by a mod and you just think it's a base game feature because you've gotten so used to it. Yeah. Anyway. Right, so this comes across, goes over one, that's already over one. So I suppose, okay, that's useful for getting out of the way. Also, oh yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's one too many. So actually we need one track to merge in anyway. So it might as well be... Actually, hold on. If we need one track to merge in anyway, because we've got 4 and 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 2, sorry, then we could just delete this. There we go. Problem solved. Wait, you mean you don't have individual hemp seeds? Industrial hemp seeds in your game? Yeah. Okay, so What do we need? If we have a look at this separately, so these 4 are the left-hand line coming in, these ones are the right-hand line coming in. I suppose it would be good to have a way of... Let's handle the left stuff first, because that's the more complicated stuff. So let's say if you want to come out of the station, you can already come out onto those lines or the right-hand side. So if I... tell you what, it would be quite useful. Actually, is the minimap... Oh, I can access the minimap in Surveyor. Although, I have to say that it isn't particularly useful. Unfortunately. Just trying to think of the best way to visualize this. Actually, maybe Pixmatch per document? No, I'd like to... I was thinking maybe I could put in a spline over the top so that I could... Actually, that might be a good idea. Hold on. If I take a wall asset... I know that's a bit too tall. Yeah, like that. So then you've got this coming in and that comes across there. Say that that's a train coming in from this outermost platform and wants to go all the way on to the left for some reason. Then new layer, please. No, I don't have to put it on a new layer. I can just double click. I can just double click select it and then delete it. It's fine. And plus it's a spline, so right. Then if it wants to get across more, we're gonna need a crossover. Let's just make it like 170-ish feet long. Let's do like 175. And actually put this is the thing I learned. Look, if you put this onto filter selection up here, then it'll only allow you to select the assets and manipulate the assets that you've actually got selected over here. So that's not a feature I knew about until someone on Discord told me, and that's really, really useful. Yeah. Okay, so I'll add in a spline point there. Make sure to straighten this. Then I'll add in a spline point there. Make sure to straighten this. And then have this cross over to here. So then, if I switch over to the splines, for example, well, that's the wrong thing. Right, then the train can come across this way. So okay, we need to come across one more to have the entire right-hand side hooked up from left to right, and technically also from left to right if you're coming in, and also the other way if you're coming out. But so the way that I've got my 4-track mainline set up is that the left 2 tracks are going that way and the right 2 tracks are going that way. So it's not alternating. It's 2 in that direction, then 2 in that direction. Which means these 2 tracks, so these 2 tracks are going forward. They're coming into the station, right? Which means that you now already have access to all of these platforms. If you're coming out, then you need to cross over onto these left 2 tracks. So for these ones, that's already sorted. For these ones, not so much. Okay, well, let's move the measure to about there. Now, do I want, because we still need to bring this track over onto the left as well. Do I want this to merge in first and then go back out? Or do I want it to go back out and then merge over? Or actually, it doesn't have to be here even. Like if you're heading outward, actually tell you what, let's have the junctions that allow you to get onto the correct track if you're heading outward close by here, because then trains that are departing can get out of the way as quickly as possible. And then the other junctions that allow you to cross over when you're coming in, we can have those a little bit further back, because then they can go in the wrong, basically on the wrong side, in the wrong direction for a bit longer before they're in the way, if that makes any sense. It makes sense the way I'm picturing it. It might not make actual sense if if you think about it too hard. Who knows? Okay, so make sure that's straightened, in which case we should actually have this be on the other side. Yeah. Yeah, because then although, does it even matter? Because if a train's sorting onto the wrong, basically going against the direction of the track all the way back here already, say there's a train coming in here on that side, then a train departing, if it can already sort onto the left side, then it would be blocked by the other train coming in. So does it even matter? I suppose it depends on the route layout. Tell you what, let's just connect all the stuff and see what we come up with. And then we'll see how good it is. And if it's good, we can keep it. If not, then we can rework bits, and we'll already have the spline points in place, which is going to be useful. Okay, so yeah, I don't usually do big terminuses, if you couldn't tell. So this is a line of a train coming in this way. So if we've got a train coming all the way on the left, or on either of the left 2 tracks, it can now access that platform, can access, actually I need to make this be part of the spline. It can access that platform, I need to make this be part of the spline too. 1 second. Right, so it can access that platform. It can access that platform as well. Although I suppose we don't really need this track then. Unless, yeah, unless we, I mean, I suppose I could put in parallel tracks, I think you can just place down a track circuit to see where a train can go. Track circuit? Oh, you mean the trackside object. The detector, you mean? That? Edit details? There, yeah, this is where the train can go. Everywhere except this little bit. Good idea, but I don't think it's that useful in this case. Anyway, I mean, this helps me visualize it. So the only reason why we would want to keep this junction over here is if we had a parallel set of junctions going across. Because, like, say we have this kind of cutting across there as well. Then, if you're trained here and you want to go out onto the right main line, then at the moment, if we delete this bit of track, you'd have to cut across here, cut across there, cut across here, keep cutting across until you've made your way over. In which case, you're going to be blocking this entire track all the way through, essentially. But if we keep this and we add a paralleling crossovers, basically, then you can cross over in a zigzag like that, while still allowing another train to come in, cutting across while you're exiting, basically. Yes. But that does mean that that would eat up a bit more space over on this side. So, let's see. I like that idea, mainly because I like the idea of having a session scripted such that you're coming over here, you're coming over here, there's a train coming right, basically on your line, accelerating right towards you, like full on, and then you just turn off onto the crossover as the other train turns off onto the other crossover, and you just pass each other like that, and you cross over paralleling each other. That's just a really fun image in my head, and so I'm going to try to set it up that way, even if, well, might not be that realistic, I really don't know, but it's a fun idea, so let's go with it. In which case, gonna need a crossover there. And since we've already got the paralleling one right there, don't really need to remeasure this. Would be great to have the player wait for a train to come out of the station in front of you. You'll have that too. I like that a lot. It is realistic and way more common than you think. Well, that is encouraging, and now I'm definitely going to do it that way. Which also does mean that you're implicated in sharing responsibility for whatever monstrosity of track spaghetti I end up making. I'm glad that you were aware of this before you agreed. Right, so yeah, I'll just continue this. Yeah, so put that there. I need to straighten this, but no, I said it is realistic. You are the one designing it. Yeah, sure. I'm the one Actually, that means I get to keep the money. Yeah, I'm the one designing it. Yeah, you're right. I get all the credit, yeah. Right, so we've got that coming over. Is there a way? I should tell you what, I'm gonna... Yeah, so these are the 4 tracks. I'm going to diverge a bit from the example of Glasgow Central, because in Glasgow, the Glasgow Central example that CodeMonkey suggested, the actual lines to cross over from the right main line to the left main line basically only had 1 track either way to cross over, because most, apparently, because most trains only use the platforms that are already on the tracks, which makes a lot of sense. But in the interest of having interesting arrivals, departures in sessions, I'm going to have these 2 paralleling crossovers going all the way over onto the left, and then we'll see what that looks like, and if the rest of these tracks are just going to go straight during that, or if they're going to merge into or divide out or anything like that. We'll see. So, wait, where did I leave the... Oh, there. That's not it. Hold on. There's the ruler. So I'm going to put that sort of there-ish. Gonna delete... Well, I'm going to move that a little bit to there. I'm also going to... Well, I'm going to leave that for now. If anyone says it's not realistic, you can just tell them, well, it's realistic where I come from. Well, where in the world do you come from? They'll ask. You'll say, the UK. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, no. Not the United Kingdom. Dun, dun, dun. Sorry, I didn't quite hear that. What did you say? All right, yeah, I said, not the United Kingdom. Dun, dun. No, I wasn't finished yet. And then it just goes on. This kit just continues on like that. Okay, so that crosses over. We'll have the final crossover there. Plus, it's probably also a good idea to think about where the depots are going to be. Because in the example of London Victoria, as you're coming out of London Victoria, it kind of goes around and curves left a little bit. As you're climbing up to get onto the bridges over the Thames, you've got the carriage sheds, the depot on the left, right there, which, while it is probably fun to have that there, I think I'm going to have it somewhere else. Either down here somewhere maybe, or maybe over here in that bit, somewhere else. Mainly because... Wait, London Victoria has carriage sheds right next door? Yeah? Mainly because of 2 reasons. One, it means that's going to be less laggy, because these are all procedural tracks, and having trains in the carriage sheds and all that sort of stuff, plus trains in the station, that could get quite a bit laggy for some machines. My old computer. So spreading that out is probably a good idea. Plus, also, it's another interesting feature that I can put on a line. Why have those those points of interest put right next to each other when I could have them spread out and have it be something else interesting for the player to encounter as they're driving on the line? Right, so London Victoria is yeah, there we go. There we go. So this is London Victoria. Say hello. So you're coming out of London Victoria, and then you've got the main lines coming out here, but then you've got all of these switches going off to the right, and then you've got this huge carriage sheds depot thing right here. Actually, globe view. There we go. See, that on the left. So the main line rises up, to jump across the Thames, as it were. You just get a good run up, and then you ramp off, and you land on the other tracks. Sometimes, though, you land on the track opposite, and then they've got to reroute you, and sometimes you've got to go via Swindon, and that's, well, yeah, that's a whole thing. Anyway, so, but yeah, you've got the depots right here on the side. Look, you can even see trains stored here. Look, those are actually the 465s, some of them there. Yeah, so that's how it looks in real life with Victoria, but I think I'm gonna spread it out a bit. Yeah, although I'll read chat. I'd go to the pictures to watch that. Depots, totes, forgot about those. Were all the 465s stored, RL? Wait, London Victoria has carriage sheds right next door. Hello. It has 9 tracks for 12 car units for Southeastern on the east side, and 2 more on the west side, not shed, for Southern. Oh, right. Shadow of Khan. Oh, hello, Shadow of Khan. Welcome, welcome. +1 on west non-shed for Southeastern. Right. So yeah, I'm going to spread that out. I'm going to put that somewhere else, just so that we've got another point of interest. Although where I should put that is debatable. Actually, ideally, it would probably be over here somewhere, probably next to this station, or actually a little bit before that. It would actually probably be a good place for it over here, because then you've got access to the lines going up this way to this terminus for the first trains to go, or if they're ending here, you've got a short distance to go to the depot, and you've got access to the line going this way onto the depot, as well as the main line that comes from outside the map, from off map, that goes this way. Yeah, but that does mean that, well, yeah, actually, it pointing into the terminus is a good thing, I think. Put a depot pin down. Good idea. Right, so actually, I'm going to use a blue one. Why not? No, don't answer that. D-pot. Why is the kerning like that? Actually, that's a black one. I thought it was a blue one I was putting down, but that's actually a black one. Doesn't matter. Yeah, on the little image, I thought that was the blue one. Hold on. There, hold on. Depot. There we go. That's where depot. Actually, no. The depot needs to go sort of here. Okay. Right. Save. Also, one thing I'm not sure if I showed before is I did put a whole bunch of footpath signs down, like British public footpath signs, because I really enjoy footpaths IRL, and so having them on my Trainz map is very good as well. Da pot from Living Art? No, not da pot, but da other pot. So, back to this mess. So this is, yeah, I've got to straighten. Okay, let's add in that. There we go. So now you can get all the way from the left, all the way onto every platform to the right, which is good. Which also means that, hold on, me working on my routes. So, back to this mess. Yeah. I think that if I if I played more Transport Fever, for example, and I actually played maps long enough to get stations really big, and I played them, like, the thing is, okay, slight tangent here. Imagine this is the line, the direction of the stream. Yeah, we're going this way for a bit. So the way I usually play Transport Fever is because here's the thing, an idea that I've had for quite a while, branching off, an idea that I've had for quite a while is to go into Transport Fever, or OpenTTD or something like that, and build a map. And by build a map, I mean play a game. Play a game through to some sort of finished state, mainly reaching the modern era or connecting all the towns with all the different resources in Transport Fever 2 or something like that. And then taking that and using that layout to make a Trainz map. So placing the cities and industries and all that sort of stuff, and then of course adding some yards and stuff in between to make it more realistic. But one of the things that has prevented that idea, like there are a whole bunch of reasons, but one of the reasons is that, I would build, but I can't really do this complicated track stuff while talking about this. So I'm going to leave you with, actually, hold on, I can give you while I'm talking, I'll give you a bit of a nicer view. 1 second. Let's just park you sort of here. Actually, no, let's park you sort of there. Right, so one of the things that prevented me from doing that is that the way I usually play Transport Fever 2 is I build the most, I try to build the most efficient network with the resources that I have, so with the money that I have. So let's say I've got a main line going from this point to that point, and it's got passengers on it, a bit of freight on it, and all that sort of stuff. I've got a 3-track main line, and then I want to connect an industry on the opposite side of a river that's going to be a really heavy freight industry. Now, in-game, if I've got not that much money, I'll probably just add maybe another track to my main line and then build a bridge crossing over and connect that. But that means that still trains are going to have to brake and then let others across, or I've got to build passing tracks, or that sort of stuff. But once I've reached a point where money really isn't an issue in the game anymore, then I would go for just building another main line that's just for that industry. Or like, for example, tunneling through a mountain because that's a lot faster and I can afford it, than building a very slow curvy line across it, especially for things like express passenger or stuff like that. And so that's the same sort of thing that kind of prevents a lot of my passenger stations from being more realistic, because say we've got a town here and then we've got a whole bunch of other towns around it. In the real world, if you wanted to connect it, you probably just make a little branch that connects over to that town, but then passengers have to go from here over to there, and then take that passenger train all the way over there, change again, then go up there. Which in game terms is a lot less efficient, because it means passengers take a lot longer to get to where they're going. And if I've got the money for it, I could just build all new lines to connect this town to all these different other towns. And that means that a lot of the network is kind of spread out a lot more across the whole thing, a lot of the busyness, which kind of prevents those big sort of stations from forming a lot of the time, especially for passenger-related stuff. Which brings me back to why I even started this tangent, which is that I was saying if I played Transport Fever 2 more, getting to the late game stages, I might be a little bit more experienced in building these sorts of stations and approaches and that sort of stuff, which I've kind of spoken against for that. So I hope you enjoyed that tangent. Now please tell me what I was doing. Right, no, never mind, it's fine. So we've got this all set up, working. Oh, hold on. Oh yeah, because that's a junction. Oh right, yeah, never mind. So we've got that all working. So if you're coming in from the left, so if you're coming in from the left-hand main line that comes across from the Y like this, then you can, so you'll be on this line, unless you've already crossed over before, and then you can get to every single platform. That's fine. You're probably not going to be on this line. Now on those two lines, you can get to most of the platforms, except for these four. You can't get onto these four platforms. Which means that well, really, what we need is because I was thinking, since we've got this, actually this crossover is going in the wrong direction anyway. Anyway, so I was thinking if we could have some way of crossing over onto the left from this track a little bit before, like here, for example, then that you could push that back a bit. But that's not really a possibility because all of this is already taken up with junctions. Now if we did get rid of this junction, for example, then we could have the go over, but I want to keep that. So I suppose Moses supposes his toes are roses, but no, I suppose that I'll just have it pushed back a little bit more. So we need to get onto, although, if we got onto this line and we added another crossover here, like that, in that direction, then we wouldn't need another crossover onto left because we've already got one back here. So actually, let's put in that crossover back there first. Sort of there. Actually, we've already got the junctions from the other tracks to kind of mark the spots. So put that in here. No, not another spline point, straighten spline. Insert spline point there. Do that. Okay. But yeah, I think it would be fun to. I put that one in the wrong place, sorry. I think it would be fun to play Transport Fever in a more realistic way, like so that it actually ends up looking like something a railroad would actually build. Oh yes, I remember the slight tangents from the classic Trainz route building streams very fondly. Could work on the Northern Tunnel portal during this, or this. The queue for train pass, Starport on Sea, like Brook, is too long. If Brandt were here to see what you're doing to this poor station, he would demolish it all and build you a Waterloo. Well, okay. But no. Like I said before, I'm just getting a layout in now, and as I continue to build the route, maybe look at more research, have a look, maybe get feedback from people looking at this or posting screenshots of it on Discord or things like that. As I get feedback on this or learn more myself, I am fully prepared to rip stuff out and relay things in a better way. Okay, so Let's see. Okay. Put that there. Put that there. Which, incidentally, that's also something that happens in Transport Fever a lot. You build a junction or you build a thing, and then as the load increases and it continues, you just rip it out, redesign it, put it back in. Much better. Okay. Now, what are all the other tracks doing? So, hold on. Oh, by the way, Eagle, look, this is what happens. If you double click an asset, it just opens the menu, like if you double clicked it on Content Manager. Right, so if you're coming in from the left, you can reach everything. If you're coming in from the right, on the leftmost track, so on the right slow, then you can now reach everything. If you're coming in from the right fast, you can reach most stuff, but not quite everything. For that we need another track passing over, which I'll just push a little bit further back. But what about the other way? Like from here? Yeah, from here you can only cross over once, and then once again, and then you need to be able to get all the way over onto the left. But that's probably not going to be used very much either. Builders are still out of fuel though. Trainz, when attempting to lay a crossover. Error, too much coverage. No! Ah, nice. Very useful. Not for me. Okay, so time to slightly, very slightly extend this. Because the important bit is that we cross over, that we get onto the correct line before the Y starts. Now, given that we haven't built the Y yet, that's pretty much just an arbitrary point, but the idea still stands. Well, it's kind of leaning against the wall, but it still counts as standing. Save. Yeah, you too, Eagle, save. Right. Oh, right, I've got it in there. Yeah, that's fine, that's fine, that's fine. Right, so we've got that. If this crosses over one... Actually, it's already over on the... Yeah, well, actually, another thing... No, I was about to say another thing to think about is electrifying this, because electrifying stuff on curves is never fun, but with the amount of junctions, it's pretty much all going to have to be manually done anyway, like in little bits. So it doesn't really make much of a difference anyway. Okay, so... Let's see. There's no... Okay, we've got access onto this track, So now if I just... Tell you what, I'll just put in crossovers onto the left for now. And then we'll see how that'll work. Oh, actually, that's on the wrong bit. I keep putting it on the same line. Straighten that. Okay. So now you can cross over that way. I'm thinking, like, what? So let's say, okay, so for example, if a train comes in this way, wants to get over, if it wants to get over onto any of the left platforms, it now already has access to come over this way. That's fine. But in what case would this be blocking something? So if it wants to go onto the right platforms, it might be worth having like a crossover all the way back here to go onto the right. So it can already come onto the right platforms, go along here without interfering with anything. Which means that actually after having the crossovers going all the way onto the right side, because I'm having those initial crossovers to get over onto the right side, having them a little bit closer like that means that the main line isn't touched up until that point. Which I suppose might be a good thing. Or I could just have a pair of crossovers back here somewhere, so that if needed, you can cross over onto the wrong side and someone else can cross over from the wrong side onto the correct side. I think that's a good solution. So you can do it both ways from back here, say, and then you can also get onto your specific platform from here as you come in a bit further. You need 2 sets of X junctions in both directions. Yeah. Basically, yes. So although the way I'm doing it here is I'm trying to avoid, you have no cross junctions. Yeah, I didn't want to put in junctions with diamonds here yet. Although, why do you say that junctions with diamonds would be better? I would suppose that they would save some space. Like, I could put in the other cross junction. Maybe. Although, from what I looked at, like the reference material that I looked at, I think those diamond crossovers are quite rare, like from what I looked at. Usually it's tracks crossing over from one side to another, but having diamond crossovers, like if you look over here, actually, which way is it more visible? Yeah, like if you look over here, like the approach to Victoria, for example, you've got a whole bunch of junctions connecting together and diverging, but I can't find a single diamond on this approach. And if you go to Waterloo, which is somewhere, yeah, I keep losing Waterloo. Where is Waterloo? There we go, Waterloo. But if you have, actually, I suppose here you do have diamonds. Okay. So if I look at Waterloo, they've got some diamonds here. So that already allows you to basically offset 1. And then they've got lines coming together to form a few fewer tracks. And then you've got some crossovers happening there. But it looks like with Waterloo, you're pretty much already locked into what platforms you can go in from quite a ways away, which is also what CodeMonkey said, that they usually tend to be more like that. You've got some crossovers here at Vauxhall. Interesting. Diamonds generally have a tendency of doing that. Yes, but in Victoria, you don't go from all to all. Victoria has 2 separate main lines. Oh, Victoria is 2 main lines as well. They change over at Clapham. Oh, well, what would be a good example to look at then, in your opinion? Actually, what about Paddington? Where is Paddington? Somewhere, I'm sure. Paddington's only 1 main line, right? Well, here, let's have a look. So at Paddington, you get a few crossovers happening here. So these are all, basically they're splitting off into more platforms, crossing over from right to left, mostly. Yeah, these are pretty much all from right to left. Say if you're coming in from here, then you can get onto that platform, onto that track, sorry, and you can come into the middle of the station, but you can't come over across onto the other side. Paddington has a singular main line, therefore it can allow you to already split intercity and commuter sides at the station. Interesting. Although my station does have 2 main lines. Yeah. So, So you have 2 options. 2 options, you say. 1, finish the build. 2, give up and, well, just not touch this bit of this map and wall it off and never touch it again. Right. So in the example of Waterloo, they had diamonds up here, basically. Either separate them. Oh, so you mean like separate them as in these platforms are for that main line, these platforms are for the other main line. Like that, you mean? Yeah, or have a whole lot of crossovers so that you can get from everywhere to everywhere. Do a Glasgow Central. Well, Glasgow Central is what CodeMonkey suggested as well. And I did have a look at that. And from looking at that, they did have crossovers out on the main line before you get into the station, the throat of the station. So your crossovers there. And then you had a line crossing over onto the other side, onto the left side or onto the right side. And then the left and right sides kind of sorted each other from there. So you think that might be a good way of doing it then? Let's see. If I did remove some of the junctions, replace them down, then actually, let's go central has to allow for intercity trains on the east side coming from the west. Yeah, and I do want all the tracks to be accessible from everywhere. So let's see. If we did have, say, well, it would be better from here. If we'd have a train coming from here, we could have a crossover here. Or one option even more space saving is to do a Germany. You're gonna have to elaborate a little bit more on that. I'm not too familiar with station layouts in Germany, which I suggested at the start. Two sets of X junctions in both directions, you mean? Okay. Yeah, because I think this is only the second kind of terminus that I've, like, terminus that I've tried to build in a realistic way in Trainz ever, I think. Because all of my old routes didn't really have a terminus, and if they did, then it was basically just everything going down onto two tracks, and from there just everything branching up into different ways. And then I built the one on the MVR, and now I'm building this one. I suppose there was the one on the Scar Hills as well, but that was, well, it didn't have that many tracks, and that was just everything kind of merging together as well. Frankfurt Hauptbahnhof. Okay, let's have a look. Actually, go away. Okay. Ah. I think I see what you mean. Okay, so what I can tell from this is that they love their spaghetti in Germany. No, so like that is that really how that goes? That's not that accurate. Hold on. Oh, wait, does Open Rails Map have... Oh, Open Rails Map. Is that the European thing? Because I know of Rail Maps Online, which has UK rail maps and that sort of stuff. But is this a... Hold on. Copy link. Does that work, or does that one not work? Oh, .org. Oh, right. Okay. Now, Frankfurt is over here somewhere, isn't it? No, hold on. It's got to be there. Is that Frankfurt? Yeah, that's Frankfurt. Hold on, let me... How do I turn off the labels? The layers, is that it? Oh, switch to track age from visibility. Oh, right, thank you. Use search bar, okay. Or electrification. Yeah, electrification seems good. So many tracks. Okay. Oh, also, I'm assuming. Oh, is this the tram? The tram line, is that, or is that? Yeah. Oh, that's fun. Anyway, so let's have a look. Let's see, can I turn the... Oop, that's not what I wanted. See the diagonal tracks crossing the straight platform tracks? That's what I suggested you do. Oh, you mean like this? So... You mean like the tracks that come from here, cut across, and then cut across here. It cuts across all the different tracks, and at each intersection it has two, basically like a yard ladder. Basically like a yard ladder that's inside the tracks of, like, that goes across it and has X intersections. Oh, right. Okay. So then you'd just have two of them. You'd have one of them here, and then you'd have another one on the other side. Which, I mean, that does seem very efficient, and it seems a lot more easier to work with than what I've got so far. But I'm not sure if that would feel very British, because I can't say that I've ever seen a design like that on a station in the UK. But then again, I've not looked at that many Terminus station layouts in the UK. Maybe you can have like a hybrid of that. Because I do very much like the idea of having these paralleling lines going across. So you can have like the paralleling crossovers here, so that we can have a train departing and coming in with like while they're on the crossovers and stuff like that. But maybe we can use the other design on the second half. So you've already got going from left to right. Maybe we can have the same, well, maybe we can have the kind of X, the yard ladder sort of design on this side. Actually, I'll try that out. Actually, I'll re-chat and then I'll try that out. Very rare in the UK. Oh, right. But your best bet with that design of yours. I'm asking Brankt. Ask Brankt. Brankt will know. He said it absolutely is a British design too. He is checking Birmingham. Wait, is he checking Birmingham or Birmingham? Because if he's checking one, then he might be in the wrong continent. Ooh, actually no, I need the other thing. I need this. Birmingham, New Street, WM, what's that? Is that Wyoming? No, that's what's YM? Oh, West Midlands. Oh, right. Let's see. Now that looks industrial. Where even are the main stations in Birmingham? Infrastructure. Birmingham New Street. Oh well, that's a through station though. Where it looks like the platforms are just separated by what's going in this direction, what's going in the other direction, with one crossover on that side. So that's probably not what I'm looking for. What's that? Just imagine being cut off halfway through the station. No, that wouldn't work. Because the way that station looks like it's designed is, if you look at this exit here, for example, it looks like they still have it at Newcastle. Okay, well, let's have a look. Let's see. Here, East End. Oh, so, sorry, that end. Oh, right, yeah. So they do. So that's, if you want to exit that way, you can cut across all of them. But it doesn't look like they've got the actual cross diamond, like is that just a diamond, or is that a diamond with the junctions in? Is that like a double slip switch, or is that a, or does that have or is it just a diamond basically? No, that is a double slip switch. No, it does look like it's a proper. If you look on Google Maps, it does look like those are rails allowing this to be a double slip switch here. Yeah. But they wouldn't make the proper cross, as it's not necessary. Leeds West 2. Leeds, no. Leeds West. Let's have a look. Hold on. Oh, West End of Leeds. Sorry, Leeds Station. There we go. Okay, so if they've got the X crossovers there. Hold on, it might be a little bit easier on the other map. I'll just look for it. Leeds Central, West End. Never mind, look differently on the other map. Oh, so is it... Okay. Well, this is very informative, and it's enough to convince me that this thing does exist in the UK, this sort of thing. So I think I'll do, at least for now. Again, might change later. No, might change later, don't worry about it. I might... Actually, I'll just delete these plan points. I will keep the intersections going this way, like with these doubled crossovers, basically. And I'll try out the yard ladder style on the other way, going from right to left. And we'll see how that works. And then, well, then we'll see. Okay, so let's get to it then. So I do still want... Do I still need this? Probably do. So let's just put in a... Let's just put in a track there. We'll see how that works. So Let's see. Yeah, I suppose we can sort of have it be there. I think that's probably a good place for that intersection to be. However, it does need to be a bit shallower, I think. Because I looked on Google Maps and I measured the distance of like a regular crossover around one of the stations, and that was 170 feet, right around there. So I'm going to use that as a kind of a guide. Although I suppose I can always just do one junction of the diamond crossing and see if like a P2 can get on there. Like if the flanges, if it works. Brand. Bristol Temple Meads would be perfect for this design, but the designers just did not want to use it. Oh, how many tracks did that crossover though that you measured from real life? No, that was one. It was a crossover from one to the other. So like what I'm kind of planning is, say I do this. You can cross as many as you want. Germans get crazy with this. Yeah. That's not what Kango meant. So, for example, say I wanted to have this crossover like that, and then straighten that bit. Then, if I wanted to see if this angle of the curve is too tight or too shallow, well, too tight, then I can just grab P2, for example, which, by the way, is only recommended in real life if you've got permission to do so. And then I can put it on here, and I can see if the flanges work fine. Which, yeah, there's no issue here. I think that's quite a nice angle for this. Although I can of course change it later if needed. Let me send you a picture from German C Mini. Hey, my repaint. Clapham Junction, northeast, and out of Southwest Depot is this kind of junction. Let's have a look. Right. Oh, right, here. Dot, no. Eagle, I have a question. Is it just Clapham Junction that's this sort of design, or is it also Hamclap Junction? Right, you said northeast, so that way, and Southwest Depot. So Oh, sorry. I thought that was... I must have misread it. I thought I read Clapham, but apparently I did not. Clapham Junction's up here. Sorry. I did think, hold on, this doesn't look quite right. Yeah. Okay, so it's this. So this is the. Okay, that's not very. Yeah, this crossing over. That's yeah, I see now. And look, they do also have part of it be the paralleling crossovers there. So actually, that's a good point. I could have it both ways. It doesn't have to be going left, right, left, right, left, right. I could have this be the the diamonds things well with it being paralleling. I could do that as well. This is all very interesting. But I will just do this end of it first, in this way, and then we'll see how that looks. And then we'll see about redesigning the other thing, maybe. But left, right, left, right, left, 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 right, that's fun! It is. And you would still be going left, right, left, right, left, right if you were going the other way as well, if you wanted to go onto the track that you wanted. Check Discord. Will do. Yes, I've still got it installed. Thank you. Thanks for reminding me. Almost forgot. You mean the PMs? Sure. Okay, you can. Okay, good. Good. Oh, I see. Okay, yeah, I see now what you mean. So having... Oh, and you've got the paralleling lines as well. So yeah, they're going this way, and then you've got the double slip switches there. You've got double slip switches there going that way as well. And then some more where it's kind of branching off into different platforms, and then having those basically be two tracks that merge onto them as well. Interesting. Very interesting. Thank you. Yeah, I'm much more experienced at building scenery, like countryside and that sort of thing, like small town stations, that sort of thing. Also, I'm going to have to realign these because they're not straight anymore. Well, they probably weren't straight before, because that will explain why this is the way it is. So I need a little ruler here. Brandt wants to show you his job at this type junction 2. Oh, well, I would be very happy to see that. So, yes, if he wants to show me, then yes. Tell him yes. Just tell, yeah, just tell him yes. Message relayed from Trainz. No, message original from Kango. Gasp. But. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Although that's really weird. Like if you, in Trainz, when you like remove spline points and or undo after you had placed after you put a new spline point in, it messes up the trackside objects. Like it puts them on the wrong side of the spline sometimes, that sort of thing. And yeah, I know I'm deliberately deleting those because those aren't going to stay anyway. Okay, and I would like to have these be just inside the crossing points. Yeah, so I want the points to be just inside. See how that goes. That's straight. This one needs to be straightened. Although it does look like the procedural tracks don't want to play. Well, these ones aren't straightened, are they? No. No, they're not. Okay. There we go. Looks okay, except for obviously the procedural tracks would have a lot of issues with this sort of thing. So I might as well put the normal, I might as well put the good old frog tracks that objects on there in that case. Removing spline vertex points rotates the spline, makes it easier to work with splines if you need to rotate them on a whim, catenary especially. Oh, right, yeah. Procedural tracks are very limited in what they can actually do. It's annoying. Yeah, a little bit. Not that. As someone whose last route relied completely on using non-procedural track, it's not that big of a deal for me. Yeah, that's straightened. That needs to be straightened. Right? Yeah. Ooh, that needs to be straightened as well. Ooh, is this straightened? Yeah, I did straighten it. Good. Good, good, good. Also, this is faster to build in Classic Surveyor. Is it? Oh, you mean because of the straightening? Yeah, you're right. Oh, that's the wrong track. AJS, track eraser, no! No! Not the track eraser! We need the tracks. It is imperative that we keep them. Okay, there's just one more here. There we go. That's straight. Good. Okay. I do like the idea of having a paralleling one as well. Let's see about that. Because that's an idea I really liked. But for this, the 2.0 is going to be a bit faster. Because I can just align, if I want the same angle, I can align the track like this. So that it's basically just on top of the other track on both ends. Then I know I've got the angle right. And then I can just hop into 2.0. And then I can just move it across. Though I don't really know. Actually, I don't need that much space for the... Yeah, I don't actually need that much space for the junctions if they're going to be inside. Yeah, because it would be here, the point, and then the next one would be there. So actually, yeah, about there is actually... Actually, let's go on then, let's measure it. Let's measure it. So from there to there, yeah, that's fine. Oh, right. Oh, perfect timing. I guess I can show that on stream, Brand, yeah? You can actually make those slip junctions procedural, but it is very precise point that even I can't seem to hit consistently. Yeah, I know. I have tried around with that a little bit, but it just seems more work than it's worth. I'm assuming I can show this on stream, yeah? Sure. Hello, thanks. Oh, right, I see. So when you plan out a station like this, for example, do you just copy patterns that appear in IRL stations, or do you think out, okay, we need a track to serve this specific purpose, so we're going to put in a track, like for example here, we're going to put in a track that goes from this track, crosses over just before the ladder going across, so you can come onto that ladder, which would then mean that you can come back onto the same tracks that you're already on. Like, for example, this junction here, what purpose does that serve? Or is it for maintenance work? If you've got, if there's maintenance being done here, then at least you've got a connection to this side, but then you've got the same thing over here already. Like, do you think out specifically which tracks have what purpose? Or do you just copy patterns from IRL stations? Because that's the bit, because the way that I approach these stations, at least so far, is in that way. I try to think, okay, well, a train has to be able to reach all of these platforms from this track, and a train has to be able to reach all of these platforms from this track. And then I just connect them so that you can reach those, and I try to arrange them in such a way that some trains can depart while others are arriving, so that you've got ways of already getting out of the way before you get to the main junctions. That's what I'm really interested in. Oh, MHU, hello. One second. Open original for better quality. Oh yeah, that's a good point. This is based a lot of what real-life German stations. Okay, I see. Yeah, that does make it a lot larger. A lot better to see. Yeah, a lot of those tracks seem redundant, if that makes sense. Like, same goes for IRL stations. I don't, yeah. Hello, I'm super bored. What's happening? Well, building, so I have built a lot of this Trainz route, namely scenery, which it takes quite a lot of time, but ends up looking very nice. But the one thing that I'm currently building on stream is a thing that I've not really built much of in the past, which is a terminus. So you've got all these platforms, you've got all this stuff, and it's these kind people are helping me figure out how to plan the junctions leading into and out of the station so that it is realistic, or it resembles realistic, well, real stations in some regards. Right, so, hey, yeah, my build style did not include these junctions until Brandt started to put them everywhere in his German works. Yeah, I do have one of these junctions on the MVR in the main yard, but I've never really thought about putting them in a non-yard setting, like a station approach. Albuster is watching too. Oh, watching is a loose term. My eyes are burning with fatigue, and 3 hours of trying to crunch horrible numbers. Oof. well, in whatever medium you enjoy the stream, that's fine. Big train station track layouts are being discussed. I think a lot about how would it have been designed originally, and how would it have been modified to fit what services go from where to where, from what lines to what platforms. Yeah, that's... that sounds like a good way of thinking about it. Although, if I think about it, like from this station, then that would also have to include tracks that go off onto, like towards a turntable and run around tracks for shunting engines to pull coaches away, or to do all that sort of work, or to have coaling towers originally when this was built back in the 1850s, 1870s maybe, around there. Get some sleep. It depends on the station. You arrange the platforms and then you decide how you want things coming in. You have slow and fast lines with long platforms in the middle, not the sides. So fast lines are to be in the center. Yeah. Although, yeah, so fast lines are the ones going off towards the left most of the time, because I'm not really sure what the speed limits will be on the right side, but most fast traffic is going to go over to the left. So, yeah, that's interesting. Still more work to do. Oh no, I'm 4/5 of this particular bit done. Good lord, that zoom. Google Earth wishes. Well, if you're interested, I did do a test drive through the bits of the route that I've already finished, so you can have a look on the archive if you would like to do that, if you're interested. I do really hope things will get better soon. A lot of the extra tracks exist to allow for dispatchers and planners to solve edge cases and run as many trains in and out of the station at the same time as possible. Okay, I see. As a result, Sharadice, you want to have a crossover for the left side of the station, the right side and the center. Divide them up. If you want this to be a single main line, do a flyover to the left, or fly under, or to the right, like Clapham does. To force slow trains on one side and fast on the other. Wait, so you said... you want to have crossovers on the left side of the station to the right side and center. But surely the crossovers... Oh, or do you mean like having a pair, or hold on. 1 second. Or do you mean like having a pair of crossovers like that, and then having a pair of crossovers like that, and then having another pair of crossovers like that? Because that's a way that I mean, that would save a lot of time. Well, a lot of space, I mean. And that is how I designed a station somewhere, I can't remember where, but I did design... Or was it a station? I don't remember. I did do something like that before. Oh yes, Trainz doesn't always feature... Trainz doesn't always... That wasn't always a feature in Trainz, yeah. Things loosen in a couple of weeks, and I'll be working from home for the next few months. I'll have more work to do, but also more time to balance it out in my own way. Yeah, working from home, you can have a lot more freedom to do things in a healthy way. All right, I see. That is something to look forward to. Anyway, back to page 7 of calculations. Please keep providing sweet melodies to my ears. Well, we have actually gone over time a little bit. I do want to finish this conversation. But if you want more sweet melodies, I suggest starting the MVR development from beginning again. Although bear in mind, back then, at the very beginning of streaming, my voice might sound a bit different, mostly because I was a bit tenser live streaming than I am now. Also, I think I was recovering from a cold or something. Anyway, hope it goes well. Sent you a simplified what you need. Okay, also, I appreciate the color code, like the transport fever friendly color coding of high speed versus non-high speed. Okay. Right, so I see. So this basically already pre-sorts the trains onto what side of the station they want to go on, and then each of the pre-separated bits splits off into its own different platforms. And so then these tracks, I'm assuming, would kind of merge onto these platforms as well, the middle ones. If I'm understanding that correctly. Sweet melodies, A duck walker walked up to the lemonade. Not sure I want to know where that was going. My eyes are already burning. I don't wish for my ears to join them. Well, you do have like a thing to make your screen orange, like the light a little bit orange of the screen if you're using a computer, or like a warm, like you can have like transparent foil to put over lamps to make them emit orange light or yellow light, which can be easier on the eyes. Yeah, I'm afraid Twitch would likely have something against playing that. On a station like we have here, where you have high traffic lines in both directions, I would suggest having the lines beyond the station be slow, fast, fast, slow. And thereby also having the station in the same way. So, hold on. One second, because so the way that I've, hold on, to use your method. So the line on the left isn't really going to be that fast, and then I've got. So hold on, let's just go over here. So over here, it's the right two tracks that are the fast tracks that are bypassing smaller stations. So it's the right ones that come in here. That would, if I didn't change anything, it would be the right tracks come in like that. But what you're saying is that I should have a flyover or fly under to have the fast tracks already be in the middle. So on the 4-track main line that's coming in from the right, have flyover for those tracks, and then have the slow on the right like that. So then you've, oh, hold on, I forgot, 1 second. There we go. Now, yeah. Right. And then, so you already have that. It's like that. So basically, okay, I'm trying to think of how I can describe what I'm thinking. So have a flyover or fly under over here, where the fast tracks go from the right side over onto the left side, like that. And then that those 4 tracks come in like this, and then the other line, which is a bit slower, that comes in from the left. Well, we've got the Y right here, so I don't know that there'd be that much space to really get them onto the right side with a flyover. So in that case, they would probably be using the left tracks mostly, but have a crossover to go onto the right if needed. Yeah? Does that make sense? I hope something about what I'm saying makes sense. Trainz doesn't know the duck song? I could name a lot of songs that you don't know. Oh, right before that, sorry. They did actually do 2 more of these recently. Christmas for... okay. Yes and yes. Gotta love the quick, low-effort mock-up. Yeah. I mean... It's simplistic design. Nothing that doesn't need to be there is there to make it more easily comprehensible, if that makes sense. Also, me and Brand agreed your Terminus is terribly designed. I want to help you so much. I do appreciate it. There's a song... Okay, I'm not going to listen to that now. Oh, no, my eyes don't burn from screen stare. Just being tired and hating these numbers after 3 hours. Reminds me a lot of Edinburgh Waverley. Sure. Sure. You would love what I'm doing right now. Please do it for me. I don't know. Bell, train whistles, bell, train whistles. Absolutely not. Okay. Gonna go over that a little bit faster. Okay. Worst. But yeah, Eagle's quick mockup is likely among the best solutions I've seen so far. Okay, so tell you what. With the very kind help that you've given me, and with the reference material that I can look at on the different station school maps, I'll go over this design off stream, and I'll try to implement some of those elements in an effort to make a better designed station approach. How does that sound? Basically, what I'm saying is, I'm going to use the help you've offered me, and I'm not going to waste your time by doing it on stream. How does that sound? Okay, anyway, we've gone about 20 minutes over time. So, thank you very much. Sounds like you and me have a call tomorrow. Maybe. We'll see. With the inbound traffic being as it is, branch, slow, fast. I'd say that a better station design could be having the long platforms on the right rather than in the middle. Maybe. I do very much like the long visually, I very much like having the long platforms in the middle, especially since the last station I built on the MVR had long platforms on the side curving over and then shorter platforms going over to the right. And I very much like the idea of having them in the middle. It doesn't, and also if it means having extra flyovers or stuff like that, then from a player's point of view, that's just going to be more interesting trackage to go over. Anyway, thank you all very much, and I appreciate your kind help, and I'll see you soon. So, bye-bye everybody!